the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Right here on the Morning Breakthrough.
Detroit, you need to be made aware. Welcome to Practicing Self-Awareness with hosts Robert Chacon and Jose Villegas.
Good afternoon, Detroit. How are you all doing? Thank you for joining us on the WCHV airwaves today. I want to say happy holidays to everybody, and hello to my friend and fellow observer, Mr. Jose Villegas. What's going on, Zerby? I'm doing good, man. You sound good. Your phone line sounds good, and you sound good. I can hear it in your voice, man. Thanks for bringing that sunshine onto the air today. Okay.
Glad to be able to do this,
Yeah. And you're right, man. I feel good because when I was walking into the studio, I was sitting down prepping for our show. And the host before, Jay and Val, they asked me about a Christmas memory, and I told them about a Apollo bike I had gotten, and that made me feel good inside. And like you said, once you feel good inside, so everything is happening from the inside out. And that's why we practice. That's why we practice self-awareness, because we want to always make sure we're working on the inside. Because if the inside is at peace and at joy, and that's gonna show up on the outside of our life. And if we have a black cloud over our head, or not over our head, in our head, then guess what? That's going to show up as well. And this is the inherent complication we face, and why we talk about this practice in self-awareness. Because do you know, Zerb, that you can have a black cloud and attach to it as though you want it? I don't think we know, unconsciously we attach to black clouds as though we want them. So you got to be able to see yourself doing it.
But I want to say something real quick, something important you just said. You just said that you thought about a memory of getting the bike. You probably was a kid when you got that bike, right?
Absolutely.
But what I'm getting at, that memory was, that experience was stored in memory with the feeling too. You see what I'm getting at?
Okay.
See
you talk about that a lot. You talk about that a lot.
Yeah, because how could it make you feel good today? You ain't Selma 8. You know what I'm saying? How making you feel good today? You ain't Selma 8.
Okay.
I mean, you reliving the experience, right?
Right.
And this ties into the black cloud. Just like I got good memories, I also got negative ones, right?
Right.
The problem is I got to I attach myself to the negative ones that they still real. See?
Okay.
I need to go ahead. I need to be aware of them and not attach. What do we mean, Zer? Break it down when we talk about attach ourselves to a memory.
So when we say attach ourselves to a memory, we can be thinking of like a past relationship or something somebody said to us at the job, and we'll be sitting up thinking about it and boiling mad. And we don't understand. And for some reason in human consciousness, that makes sense. Like, oh, I know what they did to me in 1979, just like with the bike. And
right.
I don't know. It's almost like anything we addictively do. For some reason, we will addictively attach to just a negative thought. But the problem is we're creating our day if we don't know how to see it and catch it. It's just like any other addiction. But go ahead, Zerby.
Yeah, we're making decisions from that. But here's another thing remember I talked to you about this yesterday, what I realized more than anything?
Yeah.
Is that our emotions bypasses our conscious mind and go straight to our body. So
Okay.
A lot of times when we feel negative, when a negative experience come up, that energy automatically makes us feel bad if it's a negative experience. It doesn't care if it's happening now or not. And then what we'll do is begin to make, that's what we mean attached to something. We begin to make decisions from that. Like now, we're at home in the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And I've just been noticed more frustration in me because everybody seems to not be working on change. Everybody's pretty much the same people in the pandemic and all that, right?
Okay.
And then something, because I wasn't attached to the frustration, it gave room for God to say something to me. God said to me, well, once you stop paying attention to them and pay more attention to your feelings.
Okay. Wow.
So if you pay attention to the feeling can't grow because now you're watching it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, go ahead.
Wow, that is so big. And let me just piggyback why that's so big. You know, I was walking in the studio, and you know, sometimes I get messages from people that also practice self-awareness. And somebody sent me a text and they told me to check this out. It was a vignette somebody made on TikTok. It's this app called TikTok. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. You know, they have a new one every day. But anyway, it was an illustration of how what we vibrate on the inside. They were saying that, you know, if you could vibrate something on the inside, and depending on, you know, what you're vibrating, it could cause car accidents, traffic backups, people getting hurt. But they said you can also have a different train of thought and it'll reverse all of that. And I said, wow. And that's why, because I learned something every day practicing self-awareness. We actually, if we're not mindful of what we're thinking and what we're feeling all day, we really, really cause havoc in the world. And so that's what this is about. This is about us teaching how to reverse, and let's cause peace in ourselves, and let's bring peace and joy to the world. Because like you said, you made a good point. You said a lot of people are in the house because of the pandemic. And you also said it's the holiday season, and a lot of people are stressed out, which is funny because this is a celebration of Jesus Christ. So what are you stressed about? This is about a person that brought freedom and joy to the world. So why are you stressed out during this time? It's kind of a contradiction. You may need to realign what you're celebrating if this is making you stressed out this season.
Exactly. Come on now.
So
tell them that story you told me about buying the gift yesterday. That was important.
Yeah. So let's set it up. I want to unpack it a little bit before I go to the story. So we decided this week, and once again, you're listening to the Practicing Self-Awareness show with Robert Chacon and Jose Villegas. And we wanted to talk today about what we're doing to block. So some people, church folks might say, what we doing to block our blessings? And,
right.
But in this language we've created, this world we know as this practicing self-awareness world, we understand that sometimes whatever we're thinking or feeling is blocking us from getting everything we want. And so that's the question we want to ask the radio audience today is, what are you doing that's blocking you getting everything you want? And so we want to talk about that, and we want to give a few examples. Over the weekend, I had my daughter, and so now she's a little too old now. We're not doing Santa Claus anymore, so I let her go to the toy store. Well, one of the major stores, because we know the toy stores basically are non-existent because everybody's on the devices now. And we were at one of the major stores, and I was letting her pick out a bunch of toys, and I said, oh wow, this is just a bunch of junk that's gonna be tore up by Christmas afternoon, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing was, I heard myself say it, Zerd, and I said, mm-hmm. and just like you just said, with the experience you had, you heard yourself being negative, and because you wouldn't attach to it as yourself and you just listened, you heard something say, why don't I just pay attention to myself? It was the same thing. I heard myself saying this is going to be a bunch of junk that's going to be tore up. And when I heard myself say it, I didn't attach to that thought. And then I created a space where something so much more beautiful came. I created a space for something more fulfilling. Watch this, something that's gonna send a different vibration to the universe that comes back as something that serves my life greater. Look what I heard something say. It said, how about you're contributing to your child having some incredible experiences? As opposed to old train of thought, oh, there's a bunch of junk that's going to be tore up before Christmas is over. Now, what statement do you think will make a world of difference in my physical life? This is a bunch of junk that's going to be on Christmas Day, me standing around, I didn't just wasted a bunch of money with all this junk, or I'm so glad that I gave my child this great experience, just like somebody gave me a great experience with the bike. Which one is going to have a greater fulfillment of joy and love in my day? Go ahead, Zerb.
It's the one that you chose that I'm giving a great experience. See, I decided now look what I'm saying. I decided to just stay positive during the pandemic. And because I made that decision, I'm noticing the frustration try to come up, and I immediately shut it down. It's almost like instant. Why? Because I decided to do what you just said. I decided to go to the upside of the experience. See, I don't think we realize there's more than one choice in every experience. We could choose the low side, or we can choose the middle, or we can choose the high side. And then sometimes we don't have to choose anything, and that's still an answer. Not choosing. And go and see what happens. You know what I mean? Instead of vibrating at that energy, because we don't realize, Zerb, that we really live in two worlds at the same time. There's the outer world, and then there's this inner virtual world that's been created by the outer world, right?
Okay.
And so now, right, that's been created by, and that's what we're reacting to. So we don't realize that our mind and emotions has to react all the time. So they don't have the ability to be still. That's why the mind can't change itself, because it would have to notice what needs to be changed, right?
Right.
And so Christmas is one of them experiences where at first we're in a pandemic, and Christmas is automatically stressful if you if you choose to have it that way. But for most people, it's automatically stressful. Why? Because it's consumerism. We think we need to buy a whole lot of stuff. Well, I ain't got a whole lot of stuff to buy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
The stuff I was doing, when the pandemic hit, I ain't had no real money in 8 months, right?
Okay.
So whether we give a whole lot of stuff or not, I told my family, we're going to just make this a family experience. That's what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Let's enjoy it.
Watch this. No, you didn't say we're going to have to make this the real meaning.
That's what I said. I didn't know I said it. Excuse me.
The real meaning is family and friends and love. And that reminds me of when Jesus Christ was in the manger and the three kings came, and the little drummer boy didn't have anything, but he had the song on his drum, and he started to play that. And that's really the meaning is family, love, unconditional love, giving from the heart. And so if you're out there listening, and if you are feeling anything that's Christmas stress or Christmas money, just pay attention to it so you can create a space to realign what your belief and understanding of this type of season is. This season is about love. It's about giving. It's about like Zerb just said, sharing with family and friends, sharing your time. And we know a lot of places we aren't able to get together this year in the same place, but we have all of this technology. So, being able to see and talk to your loved ones should not even be a problem. It's just about realigning thought. And I'm glad we opened up the show, Zerb, today talking about what are we doing to block getting everything we want. And just expounding on what you said, we have to pay attention to what our mind is saying, what we're saying to ourselves, and what we're agreeing is us. Because you just said something so important. You said it's always multiple possibilities in every experience, but we have to hear ourselves accepting the thought that says I can't, or this can't happen, or this too big for me, or we can't attach to that thought. And what I've learned is, just by listening to that thought, so let me show them right quick what I do, Zerb. I say, okay, I hear my mind saying this, but I don't agree that this is me. What I'm saying is, in that moment, is I can't be more than this, but I want to be. That's creating a space. That's creating a space for God, for the universe to come give me an assist. And that's really what we're looking for, is to have that assist and that relationship with this super intelligence, this higher force, this God that resides in all of us. We need to actually put ourselves in a position to watch it show out.
Sir, this is why we got to practice something, right?
Okay.
And what me and you have found out is important to practice in all our experiences, especially a lot of times practice in the experience where it's not a high emotionally charged experience, right?
Wow.
Because a lot of time our emotions knocks us out. That used to be our term. Man, I got knocked out. I remember I used to call you and say, man, my emotions knocked me out.
Yeah.
What we were saying is that the emotion was so powerful that we lost control of ourselves and reacted in a negative way that probably caused damage with words or actions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you found out you need to practice in all your experiences of here's what we're saying is go into an experience, right, and let the experience tell you which way to go. Stop trying to figure it out. Go ahead, sir.
Let me add something, because you're saying something so important. I'm so glad you said that. Thank you so much. I want the audience, if you're listening, please pay attention to this one part. You just said we need something to practice in our experiences. So we're talking good. My Zerb is over there sounding good. I'm sounding good. And I'm sure if you're listening to this radio station and getting this information, you're growing and learning and feeling good. But what Zerb is talking about is yeah, we feel good in this moment, but after this radio show ends, then I have to go live life. And do I have something that I can practice moment to moment to bring me fulfillment? See, you are the pulpit. The preacher is in you. The intelligence is in you. But it's about creating a space to allow it to align in your experiences. So, yes, we feel good on this radio show. But this is really about not us telling you what to do or what's right or wrong, but giving you something after this show is over to go practice. Matter of fact, you can do it while you listening to this show. You can practice self-awareness because the message is inside of you. And we've learned, the universe sent us this voice, this message of how do we get people to pull their own message out of themselves and begin to create this life and everything they want. And it's not going to be in a book this time. It's not going to be at a meeting. It's not going to be at your psychiatrist. It's where it's going to be is you're the pulpit. This message is going to come from you, but you have to create a space to allow that to happen. And that's what the greatest teachers down through the years begin to understand is, how do I empower somebody to go get their own message? Like the saying, you can give somebody a fish, or you can give somebody a meal and they'll eat for a day, but you teach them. Right. You teach them how to fish and they'll do it for life. So that's why we're trying to teach this technique of practicing self-awareness. How do we do that? Listening to the thoughts I have, what I feel, the thoughts that align with those feelings, and what I do as a result. That means that everything I learned and know up to now, I know it's a greater learning in me. And by me paying attention to those things, a greater me will evolve from that experience. So now let me show you what I'm talking about, because I know a lot of times when we say practicing self-awareness, watch yourself. I think and because let me just say this, Zerb, you came to me many years ago and you said, you know what, most things in our life gonna boil down to how self-aware we are. And it took me a year to get it. It took me a while, and this this is why it takes so long to get it, because I think we take for granted that we are just watching ourselves all day, because we're like, hey, I'm in my skin, I know I'm seeing this happen all day. But I'm going to show you the kind of experiences that we take for granted. Just a couple right quick. So with our family members, we have certain relationships with family members, and you talk about this a lot. We call it people pleasing. If you're asked to do something that you don't want to do, but just because of the nature of the relationship, you go ahead and do it. Now, we're not saying that's right or wrong, but where we're saying, do I notice the anger I have as a result of that? Sometimes, so I work in an environment that it's a diversity in the people, the races, the sexual identity, and I notice certain conversations I have, I'm comfortable, but in other circles in my employment, I'm not as comfortable. I'm not saying is it right or wrong, but do I notice the disparity in what I do moment to moment and day to day when I'm with different groups of people? Do I notice that? Do I notice that? I've heard people talk about it's people. I've heard people in my life that I know, they despise certain people, but as soon as they're around them, they're smiling and grinning and, hey, how you doing? And I know they've just told me I despise. Well, do I notice this change that I have? And just, I want you to add on, Zer, but just real quick, because we were talking about, since we're talking about the holidays, we were talking about that Christmas story with Ebenezer Scrooge, and how a ghost of the present. Well, we understand why it was a ghost of the past and then a ghost of the future, but why did he need a ghost of the present to show him? Aren't we in the present? Why would I need something to show me what's happening in the present? Because a lot of times we just wake up and we start moving and going, and are we ever really paying attention to what's going on? But just go ahead, add on, Zerby.
You know, Zerb, you can be with yourself all day and still not see you, and still not see your behavior, still not see the things you do. Just give you an example, because me and you've been working on this a while. Self-awareness has created enough space that I can make decisions in spite of how I feel. Let me just give you one this morning right quick. I decided to go to the gym. Now, the moment I decided to go to the gym, my emotions said I don't feel like going. I mean, immediately, and I asked myself, did I have this feeling before I had that thought, right? And now, once the emotion said I don't feel like going, it normally creates this struggle to make a decision to go. Because I remember back, man, when I first started going to the gym, I actually have went in the parking lot of the gym and drove all the way back out and went back home. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Not because of my emotions. It wasn't that I was injured. I wasn't injured. See, a lot of people
your mind said you was a little hurt when you pulled up in the parking lot.
Man, I was struggling all day with my emotions, right?
Yeah.
And because I practice in other experience, if people normally hear me, normally know I'm a fuss about something, I practice being aware of not fussing this time and see how that experience turned out.
Wow. See,
sometimes I set up an experience where I'm the actual instructor and the student. I set the experience up, and then I watch, and then I go through the experience as a student, and then I see the results. You see what I'm saying? And when you talked about the Scrooge, the reason you need the ghost of the present, because the present moment is always consumed by perception. Because what is perception?
Ooh, right, say that again. Hold on. Don't roll over that. Say that one more time.
Yeah, the present moment is always consumed by perception. When you look out into the world today, all you see is perception fighting each other. You see, one group want the world to stay the same, and then another group want the world to change. So they fighting over information. This ain't people fighting. This information fighting, right? Old school want them to keep the school old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And new school want the new school. But why do they make a story about Christmas and the Scrooge of the present, the ghost of the present? Because we're in our experiences, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to go too far before we run out of time. We're in our experiences where we don't understand what is in perception. Perception is my mind and my emotions reacting to my experience before I do. See, a lot of times I think I'm reacting to reality, but I'm reacting to a reaction to reality. Boy, that's so big to understand that. I'm not reacting to reality. I'm reacting to a reaction to reality. So when you talk about the space, and this is where God come in. God helps us, right? You always, what I said earlier about the frustration, I heard something say, that's God. I heard something say, stop watching them, start watching yourself. As long as you keep watching people, you're going to keep getting the same result. Stop watching them. See, a lot of times I think people making me feel that way and not realizing the feeling is already in me. They just stimulate. See what I'm getting at? Oh, man, don't get me started.
You rough, Doc. You rough today. Man, I'm loving you so much today, man. Hey, you know, man, you freed me, man. You just, God used you as the revelation I needed because, I'm going to be honest. It's every now and then, even as much as I practice self-awareness, I wake up and it's like, oh, this is one of them days. And when you said if I look back on everything I thought about that was making me say one of them days, it really all was just perception. That's all it was is perception. None of it was reality. It was just how I was perceiving, how I was taking in what I was taking in. And but the thing is, and this is what we're talking about, creating a space so you can hear a beautiful voice say something that frees you.
Exactly.
I would never commit or agree that those were my core beliefs about what I was seeing, even though the signal was sending them to me as, oh, this is one of them days. I still would never commit. I just listened. And man, you just came and freed me. That was so beautiful, man. Thank you. Right. God used you.
Woo. Oh man, look. You know what I do to my mind sometimes? It'll tell me something, and I'll say, man, thanks for sharing. But we ain't doing that today. I ain't to my mind.
Hey, you know what, man? I hate we got to wrap this up, man. But I'm so glad we're on during this holiday season because I know people really need this boost. They need to clear this space to invite that God experience in and just rise above anything that we think is negative and not serving us. And then we'll be bringing in the new year and this new voice. I'm going to give my information. You can get my book at www.arshakan.com. You can also go on Facebook. I'm Robert Shakan. You can email us if you have any questions. We're going to get, we run our mouth so much. We ain't had time to get to your questions, but I promise we're going to get to them. All the things you want us to talk about and focus on. We just got a lot of information we want to get out. We're excited to be doing this show. We're going to get really, really deep into some things you can practice that are really life-changing. And we're going to keep it real too, because we're growing in this as we're giving this to you. So exactly. we have an email address. It's self-aware 2021. Self-aware 2021. What's the rest of it, Zerd?
At yahoo.com.
Self-aware. Yep. Self-aware 2021 at yahoo.com. You can look me up, like I said, on Facebook. I'll send you a book. And just go get the book. It would be a great Christmas gift for somebody. Go get the book. We love you all, Detroit. We're glad y'all joined us. And just tell them goodbye right quick, Zerd. We got to go.
Yep. All right. Winners do what they have to do. Losers do what they want to do. God bless. Have a great life.
Yeah. Goodbye, Detroit.
You have just been made aware. the Practicing Self-Awareness Show with host Robert Chacon and Jose Villegas. Contact Rob at 313-283-5651 or email at selfaware2021@yahoo.com. That's selfaware2021@yahoo.com. And tune in again every Tuesday at 12:45 p.m. for the Practicing Self-Awareness